How'd you end up getting into a argument or a disagreement with Big X? How'd that come about?
Man,
There's new footage shaking up the whole internet. After BigXThaPlug's circle was rocked once again, things took another wild turn, this time at the funeral of his close friend, Z. Word started flying about rivals showing up, and in Dallas, that usually means one thing: serious tension. Here's the real story of what went down, what's actually confirmed, and why the whole city's paying attention. It all started with the footage that blew up online. New Year's Eve in Dallas was supposed to be nothing but good vibes and celebration. Pink House Dallas was throwing its grand opening, and the place was lit. Bottles popping, the DJ dropping heat, and BigXThaPlug and his crew chilling in their section, living it up. Z the Wizard was right there with him, hyped and fresh off the stage, ready to bring in 2026 the right way. Z had just wrapped up his performance, throwing energy into the crowd like a star. The atmosphere was electric. Everyone in that building thought the night was locked in for pure fun. But nobody knew that just a few hours later, everything would flip in the worst way imaginable. Then came January 1st, 2026. Around 3:45 in the morning, chaos broke out in the parking lot of Pink House Dallas during the grand opening event. Out of nowhere, loud pops echoed through the air, turning what was supposed to be a night to remember into pure panic. When things finally calmed down, 4 people were hurt, including Z the Wizard, a 25-year-old rising rapper from Dallas whose future was shining bright before tragedy struck. BigXThaPlug was right there in the building that night.
How'd you end up getting into a argument or a disagreement with Big X? How'd that come about?
man, how the fuck did it come about? Manager was robbed. Just some more shit happened with this situation. Cause somebody had stole from me, so a lot of shit behind that. We squashed that shit. That shit ain't nothing though.
You did squash it. How'd that come about?
That's what I'm saying. Some situation had happened. We got over it though. That shit wasn't nothing.
Oh, that's good. That's good. A lot of times it feels like rappers start beefing and there's like no way out. Like they just got to keep going at it.
And when I got real smoke, you know what I'm saying? Just put it like that.
But he'd been vibing with his crew just moments before everything went left. Z and he had been hanging out all night. Z had already rocked the stage earlier, showing love to the fans and bringing crazy energy to the crowd. But when that footage hit the internet, things exploded online instantly. In the viral clip, you can hear BigXThaPlug completely stunned. His voice carried that deep disbelief, the kind that hits when your mind can't even process what just happened to someone close to you. He was reportedly heard saying something like, "They hit Z in the head, what the," before cutting himself off, his tone filled with real pain. Security was trying to get him out of there, but you could tell he was frozen in shock, stuck in that heavy moment trying to understand what just went down. That short clip spread like wildfire on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Within hours, the algorithm pushed it everywhere. People couldn't stop watching. In just a few days, it passed over 100,000 views across reposts and reactions. The comment sections were overflowing with support, prayers, and pure disbelief. Viewers said they'd never seen an artist react in real time like that before. It felt raw, unfiltered, and heartbreaking to watch. The aftermath only got more intense. Z the Wizard was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, placed on life support while doctors fought to save him. But online, rumors started flying faster than the real story could even settle. Blogs started jumping on unconfirmed stories like wildfire. Some were posting that Z was already gone before his family even had a moment to process what was happening.
Now y'all see the issue I'm having with the label. The label is the one told me that Big X and his folks said that Big X said he not clearing the song. So who lying? The label or Big X? But guess what? For Big X calling me and us getting an understanding, him telling me ain't nobody told him that. And ain't nobody asked him to do this with me. And I asked the label.
Fans filled the internet with RIP messages while his loved ones were still holding on to hope. A few outlets were so desperate for clicks that they went ahead and posted false info before anything official was confirmed. All that chaos only made the footage spread even faster. People online were sharing the clip non-stop, trying to figure out if Z had pulled through or not. Some were calling out the blogs for spreading false news just to get attention, while others were holding on to faith for a miracle. The uncertainty had everyone glued to their screens, refreshing every few minutes for any real updates. Then, on January 5th, 2026, the heartbreaking news became official. Z the Wizard passed away from his injuries after days on life support, surrounded by his family who kept things private to protect their peace during an incredibly painful time. It was a moment that hit the hip-hop community hard. Nobody was ready for that loss. Details about exactly what happened that night are still unclear. Dallas police haven't made any arrests yet, and the story continues to unfold. Word from people who were there says some kind of argument started inside the club and later spilled out to the parking lot. Reports suggest it may have all started when Z and his team went to their cars and grabbed protection, possibly trying to confront the others. Certain video analysis even suggests that the gunfire might have involved someone from Z's own circle, with one clip allegedly showing a person running and firing wildly without a clear aim, possibly hitting people from their own side by accident. Now that part hasn't been confirmed by police, so it's all just speculation for now. What's real though is the heartbreaking fact that Z the Wizard lost his life at just 25 years old. BigXThaPlug lost one of his closest friends in seconds, and the footage of his reaction showed pure, unfiltered emotion. Viewers could feel that pain. It was raw, real, and impossible to fake. Pink House Dallas, the club where everything went down, faced serious backlash afterwards. Reports said it was hosting its grand opening as an after-hours event, and people online didn't hold back. Many pointed out that the security checks weren't tight enough, which might have allowed people to bring things they shouldn't have inside in the first place. What made it even worse, just hours after the tragedy, the club's Instagram posted about how much money they made that night. That post had people furious. They felt it was cold and completely out of line, especially when someone had just been seriously hurt. The timing couldn't be worse, and the internet wasted no time calling them out. This whole situation reignited conversations about safety in nightlife spots, especially on big celebration nights like New Year's Eve, when everyone's out trying to have a good time. Dallas was already on edge that night. Police received more than 700 calls about random gunfire on New Year's Day alone. The whole city was buzzing, and Pink House Dallas just happened to be one of the spots where things got completely out of hand. But before we dive deeper, it's important to understand who Z the Wizard really was and why his passing hit the Dallas scene so hard.
This wasn't just another name in a headline. Z the Wizard was a rising star in every sense. He was a young hustler on his way up, finally seeing his grind pay off when everything took a heartbreaking turn. His real name was Zakanan Grant Fields, a 25-year-old lyricist representing the Oak Cliff and DeSoto areas of Texas. His story wasn't just about music, it was about resilience, hustle, and never giving up no matter how rough things got. Z was raised by his mother, Shannon Grant, who he called his third heartbeat. That connection defined him. People close to him said he carried her love and strength everywhere he went. Those who knew Z described him as humble, respectful, and loyal. Someone who showed love to everyone around him and never forgot where he came from. Before the mic, there was the field. Football was his first dream. He had real talent and gave everything he had to the game, bringing that same fire and discipline he would later channel into his music. But when an unexpected injury cut his athletic path short, Z didn't let that setback stop him. Instead, he turned that frustration into motivation and found a new lane to shine in. That's when music came calling. Around 2023, Z started dropping tracks and sharpening his craft, adopting the name Z the Wizard, a symbol of his ability to maneuver through life's challenges with creativity and strategy. The name Z the Wizard couldn't have been more perfect. Former coaches and teachers described him as sharp, determined, and focused, a young man with big dreams and an even bigger mission to lift his family and break the cycle that weighed heavy on his early life. Once he set his sights on music, he moved fast. His catalog grew quickly, filled with songs that reflected his thoughts, struggles, and wins in a way people could feel deep down. In 2024, he dropped his debut project, Wiz, Who Is Z? A tape that gave listeners a real look into his world, raw emotions, street reflections, and life lessons wrapped up in solid storytelling. That same year, he teamed up with Young Don for Wiz and the Don, a collab tape that proved he could vibe creatively with other artists and still stand out. By April 2025, Z had leveled up again, releasing Words of Wisdom, a project that showed clear growth in his sound and maturity. Fans loved it because the songs had meaning. They weren't just catchy, they spoke to people who were chasing goals, overcoming setbacks, and trying to stay real through it all. His biggest records, including Boston and Gay, pulled in over 125,000 Spotify streams combined, while Anti-Cap Music hit around 40,000 plays. And Chevy? That one became a local anthem that had the whole city rocking. At that point, Z was averaging around 25,000 monthly listeners. His sound fit perfectly within the southern trap and street rap lane, mixing energy with emotion in a way few could match. His lyrics focused on staying solid, chasing success, and moving smart through tough environments, all delivered with a flow that balanced grit and melody. By August 2025, his hard work paid off in a big way when he signed with Future's Free Bands label, a huge cosign that opened doors for national recognition. Z the Wizard was officially recognized as one of the hottest rising names in the city. He landed on the Dallas Observer's list of the top 25 DFW rappers of 2025, a major nod that proved everyone was watching his come up closely. Every sign pointed to 2026 being his breakout year. He was right on the edge of leveling up to the next tier of success. But instead of celebrating new milestones, the city was mourning his loss. His bond with BigXThaPlug went beyond music industry connections. It was deeper than business. Both of them were at the core of something powerful called the New Dallas Movement, a collective built around loyalty, unity, and pushing positive energy through the DFW hip-hop scene. This movement rose up as a response to the wave of violence that had been taking away promising artists from Dallas. The city had already felt pain before, most notably with the tragic loss of Mo 3 back in 2020. That memory still lingered heavy over Dallas, especially among those trying to change the narrative and make it big through music instead of conflict. BigXThaPlug didn't just show love to Z the Wizard from afar, he actually helped him rise. Big X took Z on tour, gave him the spotlight in front of bigger crowds, and used his platform to boost his name. He co-signed Z publicly, shared stages with him, and made sure the city knew his talent was real. Their connection was often described as a big brother guiding a young star with limitless potential. In Dallas, when BigXThaPlug vouches for someone, it means something. Z the Wizard left behind two beautiful kids who now have to grow up without their dad. But his legacy goes way beyond the music. In his final days, he was giving back to the same neighborhoods that raised him. Just before the tragic night that took his life, he organized a toy drive for local kids, which his close friends said was just who he was. They always described him as having a heart of gold, someone who never forgot where he came from and always looked out for his community. After his passing, the love that poured in online was unreal. Artists from all over shared tributes, proving what everyone close to him already knew. Z was solid and genuine. Rapper G Herbo, who had just filmed a collab video with Z, called him a real one. His day ones like Head Honcho, Amir, and Zillionaire Do posted throwback pics and old clips, sharing stories and promising to keep his name alive forever. Timothy Chung, another artist who had worked with Z, also joined in with heartfelt words. The city showed up in a big way for the candlelight vigil held on January 11th, 2026 at the Inspiring Body of Christ Church in Dallas. About 100 people came out to pay their respects, with everyone wearing blue in honor of Z the Wizard. His mother, Lash Shannon Grant, spoke to the crowd with strength and emotion, expressing a heartbreak while thanking everyone for showing love to her son. A pastor addressed the pain, confusion, and anger that comes from losing someone so young to senseless violence, reminding everyone how much Z's life mattered. The crowd echoed that message, chanting "His life matters" in unison as candles flickered in the cold night. Even though the title of this story mentions rivals showing up at the funeral, no real footage or proof of that is surfaced anywhere. There was no drama at the memorial. Everything stayed peaceful and respectful. The vigil was all about honoring Z the Wizard's life and legacy, not adding chaos to an already painful situation.
Friends, family, and fans came together to celebrate a young king who was taken far too soon, keeping the focus on love and remembrance. This tragedy once again highlighted a harsh truth that hangs over the Dallas hip-hop scene. From everything that's been confirmed, this wasn't a case of beef or retaliation. It was supposed to be a night of celebration that spiraled out of control over what might have been a simple misunderstanding. Some money thrown in the club, someone taking it the wrong way, a few heated moments that no one could pull back from, and just like that, a talented artist, father and son, was gone.
Now, when it comes to Big X the Plug, his name always stirs conversation, and that's partly why people jump to conclusions whenever anything happens around him. Even though Z the Wizard's passing doesn't appear tied to any direct conflict involving Big X, his come-up hasn't been free of controversy. Understanding those rivalries helps explain why Op Talk always starts trending whenever his circle makes headlines. When you're winning the way Big X the Plug has been, attention comes with it, good and bad. Haters show up whether you want them or not. Born Xavier Landrum on May 12, 1998 in Dallas, Texas, Big X the Plug turned himself into one of the realest success stories in modern hip-hop. His journey from a young football hopeful to a chart-topping artist is filled with setbacks, reinvention, and a relentless drive that fans respect deeply. Big X the Plug built his name by keeping it real. Fans respected that he spoke his truth without exaggeration or gimmicks. His breakout came with records that proved his authenticity and skill without needing controversy to back it up. Tracks like Texas went double platinum, while went triple platinum and became a massive anthem across the South. His hit, The Largest, turned into another chart monster, showing he can make bangers that crossed over without losing his edge. He's collaborated with heavyweights across genres, from rap legends like Post Malone and Offset, to country stars such as Luke Combs and Bailey Zimmerman. His track All the Way with Zimmerman even topped the Hot Rap Songs chart, blending sounds from two completely different worlds and showing just how versatile he is. By 2025, major outlets were calling Big X the Plug Texas's hottest rapper. And honestly, they weren't lying. But when you start winning big in hip-hop, hate always finds its way to your doorstep. Big X the Plug's biggest tensions have mostly come from the competitive, high-stakes energy of the Southern rap scene. These conflicts range from neighborhood politics to industry misunderstandings, and knowing about them helps explain why his name always gets pulled into conversations whenever something wild happens near his circle. A lot of that drama traces back to the Fort Worth streets, where both he and other artists came up. The DFW Metroplex is a maze of different crews, overlapping territories, and rival ambitions, so friction was almost unavoidable. Lil CJ Casino, a rapper repping Casino World alongside his family, has long been one of the most talked about names from Fort Worth. Meanwhile, Big X the Plug built his own movement by launching 600 ENT in 2023, signing talent like Rohan and Young Hood under his label. Both camps were building momentum in the same areas, and sooner or later, that overlap caused tension. In early 2024, Lil CJ Casino claimed he was robbed for jewelry, designer clothes, cash, and other valuables from his car, a situation that immediately sparked rumors and fueled tension across the city. While at DGB Studio in Houston, things took a messy turn. Among the items reported stolen was a hard drive filled with unreleased music, allegedly including some of Big X the Plug's early tracks from his come-up days. When Big X's team moved fast to recover the files, Lil CJ Casino started side-eyeing the situation, thinking the whole thing might have been a setup. That suspicion lit a fuse that spread quickly through the Texas rap scene. Lil CJ fired back with a diss track titled Boss Up, taking direct shots at Big X the Plug and referencing the studio incident in his lyrics. The song painted him as someone ready to stir up controversy for attention, and it didn't take long before the internet picked sides. Big X wasn't about to stay silent though. He hopped on Instagram Live to clear the air. He stood by his innocence, defended the studio, gave props to the owner, and reminded everyone of his success. He made it clear he was too busy chasing bigger wins to waste time on petty drama. By the middle of 2025, the tension had finally cooled off. In a July 2025 interview, Lil CJ Casino even confirmed that the situation wasn't serious anymore. He said the conflict came from a misunderstanding over missing items and some heated words online that eventually got resolved. Both he and Big X had a real conversation, settled it like professionals, and moved on. At that point, both artists seemed to realize the back and forth was creating more online chatter than actual problems. Still, by early 2026, another wave of drama popped up, this time from the business side of the industry. Memphis rapper Finesse 2Times, known for his loyal fan base, publicly claimed that BigXThaPlug refused to clear a collaboration they had recorded together. According to Finesse, his label, Mob Ties Records, told him that BigXThaPlug was personally blocking their collab from dropping, but instead of letting it spiral online, Big X handled it differently. He actually picked up the phone and called Finesse directly to clear things up. That move alone surprised a lot of fans, since most artists caught in that kind of tension usually keep it on social media instead of settling it like grown men. During their conversation, BigXThaPlug explained that he was never even asked to clear the record in the first place. He told Finesse that he thought the track was fire and that he would have approved it on the spot if anyone had just reached out properly. That explanation shifted the focus towards Finesse's label, suggesting there might have been some miscommunication behind the scenes. After that talk, Finesse 2Times publicly apologized to Big X, admitting he reacted too fast before getting all the facts. He even said that his label might have been playing both sides with the information, creating confusion between them. For a moment, it seemed like the tension was over and both artists were ready to move forward. But then, a few days later, things flipped again. Finesse 2Times took back his apology and jumped back online, calling BigXThaPlug a liar, and reignited the feud. He even threw out a wild challenge, a $500,000 boxing match to settle the dispute once and for all in the ring. The internet went crazy over the offer, debating whether it was serious or just another clout move. Either way, the drama didn't stop there. The next situation brewing around Big X centered on a single phrase that turned into a full-on debate in the rap world: the largest. Who really owns it and who's allowed to claim it as their signature? Big Y Yavo, an Alabama rapper, dropped an album called The Largest back in November 2022, making that phrase part of his signature identity. Fast forward to August 2024, when BigXThaPlug released a single under the same name, The Largest. That's when Big Y Yavo started feeling like his creative style had been borrowed without credit. He took to major platforms like No Jumper and other interviews to voice his frustration, claiming that BigXThaPlug had run off with his ideas after being inspired by him earlier in their careers. The tension quickly caught the internet's attention, with fans debating whether this was a case of influence or straight-up imitation.
BigXThaPlug didn't stay quiet, though. In several interviews, he denied the accusations completely, calling out critics as random rappers trying to hate on his success. Still, he didn't take it too far. He made it clear that while he'd defend himself if pushed, he still had respect for Yavo because of their previous collaborations and shared history. This whole back and forth just goes to show how competitive the rap game can get, especially when it comes to ownership of phrases, ad-libs, and styles. Catchphrases like the largest can become part of an artist's brand, and when more than one person claims it, things get heated fast. Even though Yavo's album came out nearly 2 years before Big X's single, fans are still split over who really made the phrase pop off first. But one thing's for sure, none of these disagreements tie back to Z the Wizard's passing. Despite all the online speculation that always circles around Big X's name whenever trouble hits close to home, there's no evidence linking any of these rivalries to that tragic incident. The internet keeps spinning wild theories, but without proof, talk doesn't mean much. What's real is that Z the Wizard is gone. At just 25 years old, his career was finally taking off, his name was buzzing, and the city was rooting for him to win. Now, he's remembered not only for his music, but for the love he left behind, for his kids, his family, and a community that truly believed in him. The footage of BigXThaPlug's reaction that night captured a raw, painful moment, one no artist should ever have to experience. You could see it in his face, shock, disbelief, and heartbreak all hitting at once. It was real emotion caught in real time. And while the New Dallas movement keeps pushing forward, the city still feels the loss of another young artist whose light was taken too soon. That footage from the night will never fade from people's minds. It's already been shared in countless reaction videos, news stories, and social media clips, each time reminding viewers just how fragile life can be. Every person who watches it feels that same gut-wrenching hit of watching someone realize in real time that they've just lost one of their closest friends. The pain in that moment doesn't dull. It stays with you. The investigation is still ongoing. Questions remain unanswered. And somewhere in Dallas, 2 children are growing up without their father, a reminder that beyond the headlines and viral clips, real lives have been changed forever. Some fans have compared Z's passing to other heartbreaking moments in hip-hop history, when rising stars were taken before reaching their full potential. The Dallas scene has felt that sting before. Mo3's passing back in 2020 still echoes through the community to this day. Now, Z the Wizard's name joins that tragic list, another bright soul lost too soon. For BigXThaPlug, the loss hits especially hard. It adds another layer of weight to the success he's been building, a painful reminder that in hip-hop, fame and fortune often come with invisible costs. BigXThaPlug now has to keep pushing forward in his career while carrying the heavy loss of someone who was supposed to be right beside him on that same climb to greatness. The new Dallas movement now faces a real test. Can a group built on unity and positivity keep its vision alive after losing one of its own to tragedy? The artists still standing will have to answer that question through their actions in the months and years to come. Z the Wizard believed deeply in what they were building. His legacy deserves to see that dream completed. His story is now more than just music. It's a message about how fast everything can change. One second you're performing your heart out, surrounded by your crew, celebrating success, and the next, the unthinkable happens. The viral footage from the night that started all this attention serves as a painful reminder of that fragile line between celebration and heartbreak. It doesn't just show the end of a moment, it shows the world how quickly joy can turn into shock. The title may ask about rivals at the funeral, but the truth is far different. There were no documented rivals showing up at Z the Wizard's vigil. What the footage really captured was something far deeper. The moment a rising artist's story took a heartbreaking turn right before the world's eyes. That clip will outlast every rumor, every headline, and every theory. It's a lasting record of loss in an industry that's already seen far too many good artists taken too soon. Through all the pain, one thing remains. Long live Z the Wizard. He may be gone, but his energy, his sound, and his message live on through the people and the music he left behind. And that wraps up this story. If you found this breakdown powerful, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into hip-hop's biggest stories. Turn on those notifications too. There's always more to uncover, and you won't want to miss what's next.